GM. Today, we're delving into a critical part of Aave, the health factor. We'll first be looking at how it's calculated and how to read the numbers' variability, before explaining the concept of liquidation and ultimately how you can best avoid it happening to you. The health factor is a protocol's way of telling you how safe your position is. So wherever you've borrowed assets on Aave, there'll be a number like this, coloured in red if it's risky, orange if it's okay, and green if it's looking good. It's calculated from the various components of your position. The balance of assets you have supplied that safeguard your positions, each scaled by the specific liquidation threshold, then converted to ETH and summed together to get your total borrowing power. This is divided by the amount you have borrowed, and then divided by 100 to make it a percentage. On both sides, interest accumulates every second, as it's APY, remember? We'll be demystifying this throughout the video, but thankfully, that's all contained in this nice little number you'll see around any borrow you make. Picture it like this scale. On one side, we have your deposited assets. On the other side, we have the assets you've borrowed from Aave. For your position to be resilient, you need to ensure that your deposited assets always outweigh your borrowed funds. It must sound obvious, but it can prove tricky, especially when taking into account asset volatility and compound rates. If their value is evolving in parallel, it would only have a small impact on the health factor. But suppose the value of your deposit crashes, or your borrows increase. When your health factor drops below 1, the position can be liquidated. And if this happens, anyone can jump in to clear out this unhealthy position by repaying up to 50% of the borrow costs to get the corresponding deposits, plus a compensation for keeping the protocol safe. Once it's paid, the user's position disappears and pays for this fee directly from their balance. One of the key ingredients in the health factor is the liquidation threshold, usually no more than 10 to 15% above the loan to value, often called LTV. You can calculate your LTV by simply dividing your borrowed assets by your supplied assets. So, your liquidation threshold is your LTV plus 10 to 15%. Click on Details next to any asset and you'll be taken to this detailed page, showing on one side information on the supplies such as max LTV, as in your borrowing power, liquidation threshold and liquidation penalty, and on the other side information on the borrows. You've got to understand these metrics and the dynamics before making moves on the Aave protocol. To help, here is our Aave toolkit to keep a healthy position and avoid the danger zone. 1. Stay informed. Cryptocurrencies are among the most volatile markets, with some assets having experienced a 75% drop in a day. If you're using crypto assets as collateral, you need to monitor the news and what's going on in the space. 2. Be conservative. To support a 75% crash without touching your positions, you would need a health factor greater than 4 if you are borrowing a stablecoin. When it comes to the health factor, the higher the safer. 3. Keep a close eye on your position. At all times, you should know roughly what your health factor is. Click the notify button to receive notifications when your health factor reaches specific levels. If your health factor reaches risky levels, you have various options. You could repay your loans, which is the cheapest way to boost your health factor, or you could also add more collateral. This will make your position safer and you'll see an increase in the health factor proportionally to the liquidation threshold of the supplied assets. 5th and final, you can also use Aave through smart wallets such as DeFi Saver or InstaDApp, which can rebalance your position automatically based on how you configure it. But these are quite powerful tools, so require high transaction costs. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video, where we'll be getting ever more practical as we show you the testnet.